Hi, this is Sky, and when I want to know what's going on in the wide world of sports, I tune to Sportsworldradio.
Looking for the inside track on everything sports? You've come to the right place. Welcome to Sports World Radio, the fastest 2 hours of sports talk on the internet with your hosts, Jeff Escow and Elliot Big E Lomba.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Glad you all could be here. It is Sports World Radio, the Thursday edition NFL show. Lots and lots to get to. We're going to have a lot of fun here today. Let's get all the particulars out of the way, and then we'll have some fun. This is Sports World Radio. We do it each and every Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. on the East, 3 p.m. on the West. If you live anywhere else, figure that crap out for yourself because I ain't doing it for you. Sports World Radio is brought to you by ProfessionalRecordingStudioEquipment.com. Head on over there, pick up your microphones, your mic cords, your mic stands, your pop filters, anything you need at ProfessionalRecordingStudioEquipment.com. Check us out over at SportsWorldRadio.com. Head on over there, head on over there when the notification bar comes down, click on allow, and follow us on SportsWorldRadio.com. This way you never miss an episode or special happenings here at Sports World Radio. Also follow us on Facebook at Facebook.com/SportsWorldRadio. It's Facebook.com/SportsWorldRadio. While you're doing that, head on over to Twitter at Twitter.com/SportsWorldRadio. That's Twitter.com/SportsWorldRadio. What else do I got? That's about it. Why don't we say we get the gang in here? The second half of Sports World Radio, the one, the only, Elliot Big E Lomba. What's going on, buddy boy? How you doing today?
Hey, what's happening, Jeff?
Hey, normal weather out here for San Diego. Beautiful sunny
day in Cali.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw there was some commotion out there in El Cajon.
Yeah, it's like 5 blocks away from my house. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I was like, oh, yo, that's where Jeff lives.
Yeah.
El Cajon.
Yeah.
They got some stuff going on out there too.
Yeah, it's all over the freaking news. It's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts.
He pulls out an e-cigarette and gets capped.
Yeah, gets capped. Yo. Well, I'll tell you what. If the guy would have put his hands up, like the officers asked him, instead of taking the e-cap and pointing it at him, then maybe they wouldn't have shot his ass.
Well, the thing is that apparently he was a mental patient.
Oh, yeah.
So that's gonna cause all kinds of uproars about police being a little bit more aware and de-escalating a situation. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
When a mentally disturbed person is involved. Yeah. But anyway, let's bring the rest of the game.
Yeah. Of course, always with us now, 5 days, 6 days a week because his work schedule has changed. Scott, the sports nerd, on the other side of Florida. What's up, buddy?
How we doing, fellas?
Good. How are you, pal?
You look like you're ready to go hunting, yo.
Yeah. Bust out the gun and go hunting, yo.
No, I don't own a gun. You kidding me? This is actually a dresser.
I know. What's up with that? Is that what you got to wear to work?
That's what I wear every once in a while, sure.
Yeah. Show them that you still have a little bit of class, right?
I can still wear jeans and a hat, so I'm happy with that.
Either that or he's still trying to break. Hey, either that or he's still trying to break the cats up. He needs a long sleeve.
Exactly. Exactly. And of course, from Fantasy Football Maniacs with an X, our buddy Derek Laughlin. What's up, pal? How you doing, bud?
Good. How's it going, guys?
Good. How's everything going with you, bud?
Good.
How's it out there in Chicago?
I wasn't sweating in my suit when I was walking home, so I think it's in the 60s or low 70s.
Oh, that's not too bad.
It's been raining the last couple of days. That's been the only thing. It's been raining on and off.
Hey, that sucks. I'm glad. Yeah. See, that's what I like about living out here. We don't get the rain a lot.
Well, we won't get it for weeks at a time, and then it'll do nothing but rain for 2 weeks. So it's once it gets here, it stays for a while.
We get it here.
Yeah, you guys did a lot there.
Guys, how's it going?
Good. A lot to do, huh?
And I got a message from Nick. He said he was going to pop in pretty quick. So he should.
Yeah, you know what? I'll believe it when I see it.
Hey, you know what? We'll just go ahead and cover some of the stuff from last week really quick and just, kind of reminisce a little bit about how bad we did the past weekend.
This is a terrible week.
This week 3 was one of the worst weeks collectively I've ever seen from 5 guys at once, because we just stunk the house out.
We stink.
Basically. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So anyway, it was ugly. I think you and I and Nick went 5-11.
Yep, that was my record on the picks.
5-11.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I shouldn't be talking. I went 6-10.
6-10 for Jeff.
Excuse me.
And
Excuse
the
me.
King of the Hill went 8-8.
Thank you. That would be me.
8-8. Wow. At least you got to 500.
You know it's bad. 8-8. Okay.
Well, I tell you what. Who would have picked the Arizona game, the Minnesota game,
Well,
okay,
we're gonna go over
And the
that.
Pittsburgh game.
the Pittsburgh game?
Any of those games.
Okay.
I mean, there was a look before on the sheet here. Before we got down to the 4th game, we all were wrong.
Oh, look who's in the house. gentlemen.
I sent him an invite already.
All right, let's get him on the camera here.
Yeah,
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
That's
Exciting. Hey,
Oh
did
my
somebody
God.
steal your camera?
Yeah, look at that. Nicholas Lord
What's
in the
that?
house. The other half of FFMX.
What's happening?
What's going on
How
there?
you doing, man? Long time no see.
Yeah, I dropped off the face of the planet for a while, so
Finally,
Kind of like
I'm
your
a busy-
start
I'm a-
sits.
I'm
You
a
find
busy
it-
man. Yeah.
Hey, here's your start on the sit-ins for this week, buddy. That's not too good, is it?
we're gonna get to that here in a second for sure.
I see a lot of hits there.
Yeah,
I see a lot of yellow, meaning
all that
you
yellow
screwed up.
means you screwed up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I did.
that's more P on the sheet, yo.
Yeah.
The more yellow you see, the more the sheet got peed on.
Right.
Derek's just
He can-
you're gonna take the whole beating now.
Derek's ain't
I'm
that
surprised
good
it hasn't.
either.
I'm surprised I haven't got number 2 on it yet. So, it's pretty bad.
Oh, and by the way, I'm not going to congratulate Derek on his first victory, because when I did that in Messenger, he basically just quit back at me like I was trying to insult him or something, man.
Yeah, that's kind of how I took it. So.
Well,
We're a little bit
well,
different.
that-
We're here.
Nick.
Because titles only won at 3-0. I'm like, obviously, we didn't like the money yet.
I mean, you can congratulate Eric on his win, but everybody beats me apparently, so that's not really a big deal. I'm like
But
the
aren't you
Cleveland
the
Browns of my fantasy
You're the second
football.
highest scoring team, aren't you?
You are the unicorn. You are the unicorn.
No, I'm not. I'm the second most scored against team in the league, so I figure that's going to stop, and
Yeah, lots of luck with that, buddy.
things will turn around. So,
Yeah, right. Yeah, lots of luck with that, my friend.
Jeff is so optimistic when it comes to
Yeah.
that.
Though this happens to me a lot, I am perennially one of the most scored against teams in every fantasy league I play in. It is super difficult for me. I have to be usually, and I'm not even kidding here, I usually have to be the 3rd highest scoring team or better to win every week. Like, it is so difficult for me in my leagues for some reason. I was almost thinking about giving up on fantasy football because it was such a difficult thing. It's hard to deal with when you got to put up 160 points just to try to win. So,
Well,
Yeah, that sounds like my other league, man. You got, and that league, you got
it's every league with me for some reason. It's one of those things, but I've dealt with it for years, so I feel like I can deal with it again.
So we were
Nick,
just discussing our picks from last week, how pathetic a job we did at picking the NFL games.
Yeah, I don't remember. I forgot last week already. I don't even know what that. I'm on to the next one.
Going through the picks, I mean, the first 3 games, Houston, New England, Arizona, Buffalo, Minnesota, and Carolina, we all in concert got those wrong. Then the next game up, all of us got this one wrong except for Scott. He went with Denver, and Denver pulled the rabbit in Cincinnati. Then we got a little bit back on track where we all got the Green Bay game right. Woohoo!
Hey.
Then me and the FFMX guys went down by the wayside when we picked Jacksonville, as Jeff and Scott picked Baltimore, and they came out on top there. Hey, we got this one right too. Miami over Cleveland.
Oh, yay!
Big surprise there.
Well, at least we got two of the ones we should have got right. Correct. All right. Next game up. I mean, Washington and the Giants. That was just the Giants repeating last year's fourth quarter performances by blowing leads in the fourth quarter, right?
Yep.
Kind of this.
And Eli throwing a last-minute pass in the last drive of the game.
My goodness. Yeah, we all took a hit on that one. So, I mean, there's a lot of X's on this first half here. There are a lot of X's. Let me count them. 5, 15, 19, 22. So 27 X's, which means they're wrong, and 13 correct. So that's not too good. 13 out of 40? That's
like Jeff Fisher right there.
Like what Case Keenum does when he throws the ball.
Yeah.
But then
So
we
he's
hit
good enough to be a professional, so am I.
Unless it's against the Buccaneers, and of course he's a friggin' superstar.
Right.
Yes.
We hit a little streak of 2 in a row when we picked Oakland and Seattle correctly. So we started picking up some steam, and then Tampa Bay went ahead and lost to Los Angeles. Gave up 37 points to a team that hadn't scored a touchdown all season. What's going to happen when Simeon and the Broncos come in this week?
Well, the Broncos come in this week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I know they do. That's why I got Simeon starting.
Thanks for your comments, really. I appreciate it.
Yeah, what are you going to do when you get a good team to root for? When one of these teams finally get, you're not even going to know what to do.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Then
I don't know what it feels like.
Nick and Scott went out on the limb with Indianapolis. They got that right. Me, Jeff, and Derek took a hit. Jeff went out with the homer pick, the Kansas City Chiefs, and he got that one right. We all took a powder on that. I mean, come on. If most of the entire planet didn't get this wrong, I'd be shocked. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia.
Pittsburgh scored 3 stinking points.
3.
3. Packers took Pittsburgh.
That's Nicholas'
I
fault.
don't know how it's possible, but with 3 points, Antonio Brown still managed to get 20 fantasy points.
I blame Nicholas for that.
Yeah. How is that my fault?
You'll find out soon enough.
Just been waiting on your ass for 3 weeks, brother. Let me tell you something.
We got. You know what? We need to figure out a way. Nicholas, we need to figure out a way where you can do your chat and be on the show at the same time. On
That's not possible for me.
But anyway, I mean, the look, and then Carson Wentz looked all. You know what? Right now, I think who was it? Cleveland.
Cleveland traded away the number 2 pick to Philadelphia. Yes.
And they're regretting it now. I'm sure big time because Carson Wentz.
According to them, they're not, but who knows?
What about the Rams?
Like the real deal, dude.
Yeah.
What about the Rams? They can't even get their guy on the field.
Yeah, Jared Goff.
Yeah,
what happened?
Small hands.
Exactly. If it's bigger hands, he'd be on the field now.
The Rams now.
He's got a better grasp of the playbook with bigger hands.
I think Nick and I look pretty good though, because in the draft show and everything leading up to that, we were on the Carson Wentz bandwagon over Goff, and through 3 games, that's looking like that was the right call.
Jack Goff. I mean, what's his name?
Jack Goff.
Yeah.
Jack Goff.
I think that's right.
Yeah, that's all he's been doing all season. Okay, so then predictably, Chicago went into Dallas and lost. And they actually lost Jeremy Langford in the game as well for about 4 to 6 weeks.
How's
And
that for
I
helping
think
you, Derek?
Jeremy Langford's job might be in jeopardy now because this kid Jordan Howard looks like the real deal. He looks good.
Langford looked like the real deal last year, and it just hasn't translated to this year. We'll see what he does. Howard was the hot pickup, though, of the week. I was hoping to get him off waivers, but I knew I didn't have the waiver priority to make that happen.
No, the infirmary got him.
Yeah.
The infirmary needs him. The
infirmary needs lots of things.
What troubled me about that is that the infirmary was the third pick. Paul and Nick were ahead of him in the waiver wire. I'm surprised neither one of them took Jordan Howard.
Yeah, I didn't need a running back. My team's good.
They make good trade bait. Trade bait, though.
Yeah. I already used one for trade bait, and I'm moving on to the next.
But yeah, I went ahead and picked him up in a couple of leagues, so I'm gonna see what he does for me. And then, of course, we all did a flip on the Atlanta-New Orleans game. You know, I said the score would be 45-34. The only thing is I had it the wrong way.
And at 45-32 with Atlanta on the winning end of that.
Like I said, I had it the wrong way. I had the score pretty close. I just had it the wrong way. I should have leaned to the left a little. But, that was pretty pathetic. Wouldn't you say, guys? Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
I
totally.
didn't think I could see a defense as pathetic as the Browns, but those two teams made them look like the Browns. The offenses are a lot better, but the defenses are terrible in Atlanta and New Orleans.
Just a recap on the higher lower for last week. We didn't fare too well in that category either. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. I remember Scott got 9 out of 10 for the Thursday game.
Yes.
And he had already put us in a hole. We were like, what, 3 out of 10, Derek? You and I? But anyway, we didn't do much better on the actually, we all did pretty bad on the other side, too, with just the single games. Scott got 14, and we each got 13 out of all the remaining games. So in total, there were 40. It was a total of 40. Yeah. And Scott wound up getting 23 out of 40, which was tops. And me and Derek wound up with 16.
That's not bad for guessing, huh, Scott?
That's correct. That was pretty much all it was. A big fat guess.
16 out of 40, Derek. I don't know about you, but I had to like take a pill for that. I was not.
I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again. So I'm on to the next week.
Derek, that's almost as bad as you start him and sit him.
Yeah, he's sitting there salivating right now. I'm just gonna let him go. That was it for those games. The start and sit them. Now some of the other stuff. Just really quick. Let me make sure I got one all called out. We did that on Monday. Okay, so we saw each other last on Sunday. The versus ones, it was we had like Floyd versus McCoy in the Arizona Buffalo game. We all got that one wrong, Derek. Of course, here's a funny one. We took Kelvin Benjamin, who wound up getting a donut, and the other guy was Diggs, who wound up with 1.8 points.
I couldn't believe Carolina only targeted him one time in that game. I'm like, how do you target your best wide receiver only one time?
Well, obviously, yeah. And like I said, between Diggs and Benjamin, they combined for 1.8 points. But that was not pretty. C.J. Anderson didn't do squat, and we got that one wrong too because A.J. Green was the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't fare well in these particular contests here. Lacey, you guys got him. I went down. With my ship with Riddick. Ivory, of course, he didn't really play, so 2.8 points for him. 6.2 for a set. We got that wrong. Derek Scott got that one right. Hey, we all came through with the Cleveland running back over Miami. We finally got one right.
Yeah. In a game that nobody watched except for Scott.
We all took
I was on Red Zone, so I wasn't watching. I was watching all of them at the same time.
You were watching on the Red Zone. Those two teams don't get in the Red Zone very often.
We all took Shane Vereen. We got that one right as he outpointed Matt Jones, which, again, I keep saying, Washington's running game is not all that.
Washington's coaching staff is not all that.
Exactly. Well, and that affects the running game. So, until the coaching changes, I guess the running game is always going to stay the same. Mm-hmm. All right, Carr Mariota. Of course, I'm embarrassed to say I took Mariota. He stunk the house out. He was supposed to have like a banner game.
He's been doing a lot of that lately.
Yeah, I dropped him from one. I had him on my roster, and I dropped him like it was hot. I started singing like Snoop when I did that. We got Doug Baldwin right, of course, because Torrey Smith never shows up to play anyway.
Well, he doesn't have a quarterback that can throw him the ball.
Yeah.
2 yards is too far for Blaine Gabbert. If you're further than 2 yards away from him, you're not getting the ball.
Mike Evans and Todd Gurley. Evans came out on top in that one. No, Gurley came on top.
Gurley came on top, yeah.
Well, it was obvious. Travis Benjamin and T.Y. Hilton. Gee, wow, Willikers. T.Y. Hilton destroyed Travis Benjamin, and we all took Benjamin, so we went down in flames with that.
That'll be the one good game he has all season, but that's okay.
Yeah, and it's like all I keep seeing is us going down in flames and all these. Guys, we need to step it up, man. All right, Fitzpatrick and his 6 interceptions didn't outscore Alex Smith. So we got.
Did you see that stat that he became the first player since Tom Tupa to have 0 touchdowns in a game where he had 6 interceptions? There's been 6 interceptions since 1989 when Tupa did it, but everybody had at least 1 touchdown pass. He's the first one to do it since Tupa, where he had 6 with 0.
Is it Tom Tupa? Like, didn't he play for Atlanta or somebody like that?
At the time, he played for Phoenix, and then he switched to punter, and I think he punted
teams.
for a lot of years for a lot of different teams.
Okay.
Belichick liked using him because he could fake punt with him and have him throw the occasional pass.
Tupa was also a punter. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
The Charlie
He played
White.
at the Ohio State, didn't he? I mean, he was an Ohio State quarterback.
I think so, too.
Okay. Jesse James and Brent Selleck. I think Brent Selleck outlasted Jesse James in this one, right? So we all got that one wrong too. You know what? I just look at the ones we pick and figure the other guy got it. The way the picks have been going, I mean, it's only fair to think that way. We got the next one right as Ezekiel Elliott outscored Langford. Langford actually went out in that game with an injury.
Elliott had a nice game, though.
Yeah, Elliott had a really nice game. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does against San Francisco this weekend.
I agree.
Yeah. So, anyway, and the last one was really disappointing. Very disappointing. It didn't matter which one we picked. It was Brandon Cooks and Julio Jones, and I think they combined for, 5 points?
Yeah. Cooks was kind of a decoy that drew double coverage away, and so they killed him with Michael Thomas and Kobe Fleener.
Kobe Fleener scored 20 fantasy points. Are you freaking kidding me?
After being non-existent for the first 2 weeks, yeah.
And he'll be non-existent for the remainder of the season.
And then Julio Jones, that was the Freeman Coleman show going on that night. They scored, a combined almost 60 points?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that neighborhood? That's incredible. I mean, to have Coleman and Freeman in the same lineup, you won your fantasy game right there. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm sure, in one of my leagues, I managed to pick up Tevin Coleman. I don't know why he was on the waiver wire, but I managed to pick him up.
He shouldn't have been.
Should have been.
Nope.
That's a good pickup.
I seen him and I snatched him. I was like, nope, I'm taking that one. All right, so before we get into this week's highs and lows and this and that. We're going to go ahead and jump over to start and sit.
That would be Mr. Jeff Escow.
Yes, that would be Mr. Escow.
Which one you want to do first?
I'll take my beating now. So
Hey, Jeff. Hey.
Well, I'll
We'll
do
see
it
what we
this
got
way.
right. That'll take less time. So
Well, I'm gonna tell you this way. One of you's got, actually, both of you's got the kickers absolutely correct for start
Hooray for
and sit 'em.
kickers.
Good thing there's only one.
Okay.
that's why we're trusted experts. We can get
And
that kicker right for you.
And Derek was the only one that got a whole category right, which was starting running backs, which was Ingram, Gore, and Murray.
Wow.
Every other category, you guys suck.
Hey guys, you know what? I'm kind of feeling a little bit bad for you guys. You know what I'm saying?
It was a
So
rough week all over for everybody. So
this
it was a
week-
rough
this
schedule.
this week I've decided to join the Stardom Sit-em Fray, so that way you guys don't take all the heat. I get some of it too. How's that?
Derek's, he got all the stardoms in the quarterback wrong and all the tight ends in.
So what were the quarterbacks? Throw them up there.
The quarterbacks was Rivers, Mariota, and Bortles.
So much for that bad Ravens secondary.
Yeah, and the only category was his starting tight ends. He had Greg Olson, Ebram, and Jay
Julius
Thomas.
Thomas, which all three had bad games.
Which is a product of Blake Bortles.
See, this is where Jeff earns his reputation as an equal opportunity offender, because he goes after
Right.
both of them at the
And-
same time.
Yes, and all three of us laughed our asses off on this one, okay? Derek, you switched the defenses. You had Seattle starting and the Vikings sitting. It should have been the other way around. And Nicholas, you too, my friend. You had Houston starting and the Chiefs sitting. What the hell?
He threw up like 30 fantasy points or something
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
The other thing that was funny about that Fitzpatrick game is I guess Pro Football Focus has graded every regular season and postseason game for every quarterback over the last 10 years. It's over 2,000 games. That Fitzpatrick game is the worst game that they've ever graded. They gave it the lowest grade. That includes like that Ryan Lindley game against the Cardinals in the playoffs. Whatever Jamarcus Russell played.
any game Jamarcus Russell played,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, so take us through it, Jeff, just really quick. The quarterbacks on the start side for Nick were...
The start side for Nick were Rivers, Palmer, and Matt Ryan, which was Matt Ryan was the only one he got right.
Okay.
Yeah, Palmer had 4 picks and thing too.
Thank God that Ryan was playing the Saints in that. All right, and what did who do you have on the bench?
His sit-ins for quarterback were Dalton, Bradford, and Tyrod Taylor.
Well, Taylor had a good game.
Taylor had a really good game, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Put Taylor on the bench. You probably should have switched Taylor with one of those other guys.
Anyone
All right.
of those other guys.
And then for his running back starting, he had Ingram, Gordon, and Forte.
Forte had a hell of a game. Had a terrible
Ingram
game.
and Gordon did well. So you got 2 out of 3 of them.
Right.
I consider when you get 2 out of 3, I consider winning that cat.
That's good. And then when you had sit-ins, you had Jay Hill.
No, that's it.
Yeah, I Crowell.
Isaiah
Crowell.
Crow.
And
Yeah, Corral.
yeah, Corral and C. Hyde.
Carlos Hyde had a great game.
So did Jeremy Hill.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it there. So 1 out of 3 in that category. In that
2 out of
particular.
3. I think Jeremy Hill had a good game though.
That's a loss.
Yeah,
That's a loss.
yeah, I didn't see that coming against Denver. So
Receivers.
he just
And if you
he
wide
cruised
receivers
that.
starting, you had D. Robinson,
No,
M.
it would be
Jones.
Allen Robinson. A.
That
Robinson.
would be
Allen
Allen Robinson.
Was it A.
not-
Robinson? Was A. Robinson? Okay.
My argument here was that I don't think even Nick would start Denard Robinson.
No.
No, not even me.
Maybe Lance, but not.
Yeah.
Maybe Lance can trade. Maybe Lance can trade Watkins.
And if Lance picked him up, he'd get injured.
Yeah, you had Robertson, Jones, and Sharp.
Robinson good, Jones good, Sharp. 2
Badly.
out of 3 though. That's a victory.
And then over on your sit-ums for the wide receivers, Cobb, Sanders, and Watkins.
Cobb and Watkins were good
That was
picks.
2 out of 3 as well.
Yeah.
Right.
There. So, hey, he didn't do bad.
And then here comes your tight ends for your starter. Greg
Do
Olson,
we have to?
Braun, and Jay Thomas.
And who are the sit-ems?
His sit-ums were Jay James, M. Bennett, and Barnage.
They were all good.
That's all good.
That's all good. That means he got
Those were his
all
sit-ems.
three. All 3 were right for him to sit.
Yeah, I can tell you exactly who to sit, but I can't tell you who to start.
But in the future, make sure when you sit somebody, it's somebody that at least somebody other than you and Derek know.
Right. And then your kickers, you had D. Bailey starting and B. Walsh sitting.
B. Walsh, he didn't have a great game.
Blair
was
Walsh
like-
did not know. That was his sit-em.
Right.
Bailey had a better.
He sat him. Right. And you sat Houston's defense. I mean, you started Houston's defense and you sat the Chiefs' defense.
How about on Derek's side?
Derek, quarterback starters were Phillip Rivers, Mariota, and Bortles.
Bortles.
Yeah.
You know, I tell you what, people are calling for Bortles to head to the waiver wire now, man.
Nah.
I think they need to fire their head coach and try something else.
Bortles was playing bad because of the head
Yes.
coach.
When in
Yes.
doubt, blame it on the coach.
I think Bortles stinks. That's the thing.
Okay.
Okay.
How about the
He sat Cousins, Winston, and Dalton.
No, Cousins
Dalton-
and Winston both had good games. Dalton didn't play well.
Right.
No. So 1 out of 3, that's a fail.
Right. Okay, for his running backs, which he got all right, Ingram, Gore, and Murray.
Good job, man. Good
There you
job.
go. At the most important position, no less. So.
Running back's turning out to be a pretty important position this year.
Yeah.
Good ones out.
His sittings for running backs was Hyde, Hill, and Ivory.
One of
there. Ivory was good. The other 2 were not.
Right. Right. And then wide receivers, you had Fitzgerald, Landry, and Benjamin. T. Benjamin.
Landry had a good game, but the other 2 really
Landry
didn't.
got the good game there. The other 2, not so much.
Right. And for your sit-ems on wide receivers, Cobb, D. Thomas, and Sammy Watkins.
Demarius Thomas. Woo! Man, he had a game.
Yeah.
Yes, and Nick, you missed this, but I had it. But one of my opponents in the other league did a trade. He wanted. Hang on a second. Where is it?
Hey Scott, what's up, buddy?
He traded me Demarius Thomas for Rashard Jennings.
What?
Uh-huh. That's fine.
Look at that. What?
This is the guy that I call an idiot every single show.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for the schmuck to come in here.
Yeah, I know.
He's aptly named.
I had somebody that wanted to trade me DeAndre Hopkins and Jeremy Hill for Jarvis Landry and Christine Michael. I accepted the trade and it got vetoed by the league. I'm like, really? I'm like, I thought I was getting the better end of the deal, but I didn't think it was so egregious that it warranted vetoing. And meanwhile, this thing goes through. Thomas and Jennings, that just flies right through like there's no problem.
Hey, how about the other? Is the other league a money league
No, yes, it is actually. Yes.
for you, Derek?
Yes, it's a money league.
That's why people pay attention in money leagues when there's bigger money involved.
Well, they didn't pay attention in that league.
Well, Derek, you're in the wrong league.
How much attention do you pay when when you basically just throw $15, into a hat. You can lose your attention span pretty quick. Now, if you were putting in $150, 10 times,
You wouldn't lose your attention.
you'll be paying.
I disagree.
I
I play to win the game. That's what I do, no matter what.
Okay,
Yeah, how's that working out for you, Nick?
okay,
Just like it did for Herm Edwards. Right now.
That's right. Okay, Herm. That's what I'm calling you from now on. Herm.
Herm.
The guy. What are you? 0-3 in the league?
Yes,
You
he is.
play to win the game? Okay, Herm.
It's not my worst start.
Hey, he's only
Okay, so
he's only got one person beneath him, and that's Paul.
hey, but he can get worse.
He's not in the basement yet. He's right at the trap door, though.
Yes, he can.
He's standing at the door, opening up the basement door right now.
Yes, he is.
Paul's waiting for him to open the door so he can snatch it.
To get the hell out of there. Okay, so tight end starters. You had Greg Olson, D. Walker, and E. Ebron.
Walker ended up being an active
Yeah,
for the
So
game. So
that one.
Yeah, you screwed the pooch on all of them.
And that's why Mariota didn't have a good game.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, okay. Whatever. You didn't even pick them on your starters or sit-ins. What do you care?
Not even Johnny
Mariota
Walker.
had a good
Not even
game.
Johnny
Hey,
Walker
I'm
could say.
trying to get my guys back here. I got
Okay,
my man back.
on his sit-em side, he had Barnage, Fleener, and Cook.
Jarrett, yeah, 2 out of 3.
Yeah, G. Cook.
2 out of 3 were
Yeah.
okay for sits.
And then his kickers, he
Peter,
had
you know what? Anybody that picked
Right.
Peter, you can't really blame him because he showed nothing, and then all of a sudden, he gets 20 points, and the receivers he outscores Julio Jones and Brandon Cooks combined.
yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of
Yeah.
shit is that?
Wait, is it upside down week in the NFL 2 weeks in a row?
Even
What the hell's going on here?
Hey, you can even throw Mohamed Sanu in there, and he outscored all three of them.
Too.
Ridiculous. Your starting kicker was Jay Tucker,
That was good.
and your
That
starting,
was a good-
and your
that was a
starting
really
kicker
good
was
one.
Nugent.
Nugent?
didn't do much either.
The Nuge.
Yeah, the Nuge. And then you screwed up the defense is pretty good. You started Seattle and you sat the Vikings.
Oh, yeah, that was a flip-flop.
Yeah. Both of you did it.
Yeah, way to go, Derek.
We knew the Niners were just going to dominate Seattle D up there.
Hey, 2 minutes ago you had your man's back. Now you're all over him?
Time changed.
I can see that. So the way I have it right now,
Hey, you got to understand that Nick's a little chap that Derek beat him this weekend.
yeah, the way I have it standing right now in 3 weeks,
I am.
Derek
But
has
not
a
as
total of 10 wins and Nick has a total of 7.
As far as
Derek
groupings
by
are
tree.
concerned. Okay. Instead of the starter? Okay.
Derek's winning 10-7 so far.
See what happens? You don't show up for 3 weeks, Nick. You get roasted. How about that?
I get to clear my mind now, and I'll be totally zen, and I'll be right on point.
Back in the gold chair, so that's a good thing.
I had your back, Nick. I said, after all, Nick is just a tech guy. You know, he's not really. He's probably really not.
Yeah,
Really, he's just a tech.
I don't do any of that.
By the way,
stuff.
guys,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
by the way, guys,
That's the ticket. Yeah.
hey guys, remember last week we did the perfect lineup?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
God.
Oh God.
How'd that work out for you?
Okay, so the
You
actual
didn't pick my team.
we didn't include Nick in this one this week, but the actual perfect lineup for 10 starters with the 2 flex positions. Trevor Siemian, 29 points, and I rounded these off. I didn't go by the decimal points and stuff like that. I just rounded them off.
Oh man.
Trevor Siemian, 29. Devontae Freeman, 29. Tevin Coleman, 29.
Both Falcons running backs.
Marvin Jones, 36. Emmanuel Sanders, 28. Zach Miller, 24. Dustin Hopkins, Washington's kicker, had 19. The Chiefs defense had 36. Terrell Pryor with 28 and T.Y. Hilton with 27 for a grand total of 285 points.
Wow.
That's ridiculous. That's one of the highest scoring.
Lineup. How come nobody has that lineup in their league? What the hell's going on here?
Well, we did ours picks, right? You want to know how it came out?
How?
Not
You're
really.
about to find out.
That's great.
Yeah, Nick didn't get the pick, so he can't get the brunt of this.
Well, let's just say
Yeah,
that
I would have picked that. I would have picked that first team anyway, so we're all good.
Yeah, sure, Nick. Sure. You would have picked, yeah.
Why not, right?
I'm sure you would have.
You would have picked both Atlanta running backs on that position.
I'm sure you would have picked Terrell
I would have
Pryor.
picked that. I would have picked that.
That
And
was the
Trevor Simeon is always my first choice at
Atlanta
QB.
running backs. They'll do it. They'll get there.
It was
It's the same line out. And I always, Trevor Simeon's always my first choice at QB.
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
okay.
let me go through the list of our lineups, okay? Derek had Drew Brees, David Johnson, D'Angelo Williams, Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, Greg Olsen, Ezekiel Elliott, Julio Jones, Justin Tucker, and the Seahawks defense for a grand total of 160 points.
Doesn't sound bad.
No,
That's a good
160,
week.
160 out of 25.
That is a good week.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's over 50%, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That I thought was going to be worse than that.
Yeah, I didn't come in quite so well. Mine was Luck, David Johnson, Antonio Brown, Beckham, Olsen, Melvin Gordon, Julio Jones, Brian McManus, and the Seahawks defense. I came in at 131.
Not as high as 168 or whatever, so that's good.
160 is what you got. You were the top
160.
scorer.
Okay.
You were the top scorer. Now we come to Scott. Phillip Rivers, Matt Forte, Mark Ingram, Odell Beckham, Antonio Brown, Julio, Julius Thomas, D'Angelo Williams, Brandon Cooks, Matt Bryant, and the Steelers defense for a grand total of 91 points.
Hot diggity dog.
That's like less than 33%.
Jesus.
So, needless to say, we fell far short of the perfect lineup because we didn't pick not one of these people. None of us picked not one. Not one.
Wow.
That's amazing, dude.
That's crazy.
We had the most imperfect lineups.
Wow. You guys
All
are
right.
the guru? What the hell's going on here?
Well, none of us did well, dude. It wasn't, this is a team thing when it comes to these sometimes, and none of us represented in any facet of the game. This was just like one of those weeks that you wish it would just go off
Go
into
away.
this, never to be seen again.
And yet we're talking about it for 45 minutes. So.
That could be considered masochism in some circles. All right. What other fun games did we play over the weekend and last Thursday? I think that pretty much does it for that. So why don't we go ahead and get with the stardom sit-ems for next week? That way Jeff could go take a break.
I'm ready.
All right.
Hey, let me start off so that way nobody can say that I copied off of you guys.
Okay.
And you're
All right.
writing down your own, right?
I got mine already written down.
Beautiful.
Okay, so I'm starting out with my starters at quarterback are Matthew Stafford because I think he's going to roast Chicago. Chicago let Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz just go off on him. I can see, especially after what he was throwing a lot at the end because they were so far behind, but Matthew Stafford put up some points this week, and I see him doing that as well against the Chicago Bears. Phillip Rivers, it's New Orleans. Enough said.
Yeah, and there's not really much commentary to give after that.
No. And I'm taking Kirk Cousins against the Cleveland Browns, playing at home. And I think that he found a little something of himself again playing against the Giants. It was a big victory, I'm sure, psychologically for him. And I don't think they want to go 0-3 at home. So I think you're going to see the best of Kirk Cousins on Sunday against Cleveland.
I better hope you better hope so, because they're my survival team of the week.
All right. You guys want to name your starters at
Sure.
quarterback?
Yep. So I'll just go for my article. Kirk Cousins was in my article as well. Basically the same.
We didn't look this week, so we don't know.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about it.
Kirk Cousins is one. Joe Flacco. I've been kind of harping on this the last couple of weeks that he plays about 20 points higher in his rating at home as he does on the road. So it's good that he gets a bad defense in Oakland at home. I think he's going to have a really big week.
Yeah, I considered him.
And I'm going to go with Andrew Luck against Jacksonville over in London. Jacksonville just does not look interested in playing football right now. And I could see a Philbin situation from last year where Miami just got destroyed in the London game and sent Joe Philbin out into the sunset. I do think this is going to be Gus Bradley's last week. I think if he loses and gets destroyed over that, I think they fire him after London and replace him over the bye week.
In London today bought tickets for the Washington Redskins Cincinnati game that will be in London.
Oh, nice.
So he's going to go and represent Sportsworldradio at the game first. Okay, so who's your quarterback for sit-ups?
Wait a minute. No, we didn't go to sit-ups.
Oh, we didn't do that? Okay.
We're doing
starting next.
If I'm starting quarterbacks, I'm going to go with David Carr against the Ravens. I know they play better at home, like Derek said, but that Ravens secondary is not very good. And if the Raiders want to win, they're going to throw the ball. I like that. I like Andrew Luck too against the Jaguars. And again, Matt Stafford is another start for me. That Bears team is awful, and with the running back troubles, Stafford's the way to go.
Hey, Nick, why don't you tell us how you really feel about that?
Hey.
So you got Baltimore and Oakland.
I was holding back.
So you got Baltimore and Oakland playing each other. One's got Flacco and the other one's got Carr. That's great. I love that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they could both have good games there. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah. You guys picked against each other on that.
Yeah, that's great.
One got Carr, one got Flacco.
I don't think we picked against each other. You can have. Look at Atlanta and New Orleans. You had two really good scoring quarterbacks in that game.
Well, I can tell you, he's picking Joe Flacco. I'm definitely not picking the Raiders' defense this week.
Okay, so now I'm doing the sits. We'll do the sits for quarterback. I'm sitting Eli Manning against Minnesota on Monday night. After what Minnesota did to Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers, I'm just not seeing a good future for Eli in Minnesota come Monday night. So I'm sitting him. Denver defense, enough said. Jameis Winston can't seem to get together. He's a turnover machine. I mean, in the last two games, and honestly, the Tampa defense has given up over 100 points in 3 games.
One problem with Tampa, though, is haven't they thrown the ball over 50 times for 2 straight weeks? You can't have there was an article about Dirk Cutter wanting to get back to the running game and limiting his attempts because they're just throwing it way too much.
I'm just going to sit Winston because, again, he puts up good numbers, but the turnovers tend to skew those numbers. And after the debacle against Kansas City, I really can't see Fitzpatrick recovering against the Seahawks come Sunday. I think he's going to be more of that baffled and befuddled old Polish guy that he was when he played against Kansas City. So I'm sitting Fitzpatrick. Those are my 3 cents.
Derek?
For mine, that was my quarterback too, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Even though he is coming home playing against the Legion of Boom or Doom or whatever you want to call them, that's not who you want to go with. Marcus Mariota. I don't know if Delaney Walker is going to be back. He just has not looked right the first couple games. Even with J.J. Watt out for the year, that isn't enough for me to play him at this point.
That's a big loss, J.J. Watt out for the season. But I still think that the Houston defense as a core will be a good, streaming defense throughout the season. So,
yeah. And Winston was a guy I was thinking of, and Eli was a guy I was thinking of, so I'll go in a little bit different direction. I really wouldn't start Russell Wilson this week either. His knee is all banged up. He's not going to be very mobile, and even though the Jets secondary has given up big pass plays, I don't know if he's going to be able to roll out of the pocket to find those. And I think that's going to be a very low-scoring game in New York. I don't think either offense is going to fare particularly well.
Well, if you look at my lineup this week, you'll see that I'm sitting Russell Wilson and I'm starting Trevor Siemian against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I can see doing that. I have Wilson 14th and Siemian 15th, but that's a toss-up, and I can totally see why you
after what Siemian did to Cincinnati's defense, coming up against this Tampa defense that couldn't stop a cold. You know what I'm saying?
Just to be devil's advocate, though, Indianapolis had all those banged-up cornerbacks, and he didn't really put up good numbers against Indy at home. Carolina has been pretty good against the pass. I don't. He's just got such a small body of work. Sometimes you see these quarterbacks where they play really well one week, and it just doesn't carry over to the next, and that's what kind of worries me about him.
And here's the thing: even with that, even without C.J. Anderson being a significant part of the offense, he finally started airing the ball out. And if he can do that on a consistent basis, then John Elway is going to come away looking like Albert Einstein of the NFL.
He's already tweeted at the guy that said that it was a bad choice last year. Did you guys see that story? He brought up a tweet that he, look who's in the house, Inky. What's up?
Inky.
Hey, Inky, what's up?
He brought back a tweet that a fan had tweeted at him when they drafted my brain is just not working today, guys. Trevor Siemian, when they drafted Trevor Siemian in the 7th round, a fan tweeted.
Yeah!
In the first terms to fly.
Let's fight at the OK Corral.
Steel cage match. Stick him in the cage.
Okay.
But no, when they drafted Trevor Siemian a couple of years ago, one of the fans tweeted at Elway how much of a bad choice that was, and Elway happened just to bring that back up. How's it looking now, guy?
Kind of the same way in the NBA when the Knicks fans booed Porzingis.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Why are you even taunting the GM for a 7th-round pick? That's the only thing I don't understand. It's not like he used a 1st-round pick on Siemian. It was a 7th-round pick.
Yeah. So
bad choice. Just a bad choice.
You're going to run a franchise. That's a 7th-round pick to turn us around.
Yeah, I'm sitting Fitzpatrick against the Seahawks. I'm also sitting Alex Smith against the Steelers. I don't think he's going to have a great game.
Ready to go off on
Oh,
somebody?
absolutely. Plus they got Le'Veon Bell back, so they can control the clock if they want to. So I think
you think that Le'Veon Bell is going to be more being used in passing situations to start out?
They can't give him the ball enough. I could see him getting 20 carries and 7 catches. I mean, they love this guy. I think they'll ease him back in, but what does it do for
D'Angelo's fantasy value?
He has none.
He has none.
Done. It's over for him. My other, what did I say? I said Alex Smith and Ryan Fitzpatrick. My other one's going to be Blake Bortles against the Colts.
Yeah!
I thought because it's a close defense, he might have a good game, but
he might have a touchdown, but I don't think he'll have a big game.
Hey, but wait a second,
the Colts surprisingly are top 10 in the league against fantasy wide receivers, so he's going to have to find something else to do.
Aren't the Jaguars the home team in London? I mean, don't they want those guys over there?
No, it's in London. No one's a home team. They're both away teams.
It's their future
Jaguars are
home.
usually the home team, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's their future home.
Yeah,
their future
London
home.
Jags, man.
Yeah. That's fitting.
all right, so that takes care of the quarterbacks, guys.
All right, let's move over to running backs.
All right, in the running backs, I'm starting C.J. Anderson. I don't see him having another low-scoring week like he did against Cincinnati. It is the Tampa defense, and C.J. should have a bounce-back week. So start C.J. Anderson. Again, it is New Orleans, so let's go ahead and start Melvin Gordon.
Not a bad idea.
We see how many points they gave up to Freeman and Coleman. I think that Melvin Gordon is going to have a big game on Sunday. And finally, LeGarrette Blount against Buffalo. I think that Blount is going to get the lion's share because it seems like Brissett might be the guy again. And with Brady coming back, LeGarrette Blount's going to have to put up a big game because he probably won't be seeing the ball much once Brady returns. I think it goes back to being the James White, Deion Lewis type, Edelman, this, that, and the other, and Blount becomes a non-factor at that point. So for this last week, I think he's going to put up a big game.
All right. I would start Ezekiel Elliott against San Francisco. Christine Michael absolutely torched them, and Seattle does not have as good of an offensive line as Dallas does. And Elliott, you can tell he's getting better as the weeks go on. He's starting to figure out how to run behind that line. I had Melvin Gordon in my article as well. Enough said, that Saints defense. And because I picked kind of two top-tier guys, I'll go with a sleeper for the third one. I really like Dwayne Washington this week against the Chicago Bears. They're talking about featuring him more. He only has 16 carries on the season, but they're for 70 yards and a touchdown, and I could see him having a really nice week against the Bears defense.
Cool. Nick?
Here. I would have put him in there too.
Well, I'm sitting Christian Michael against the Jets.
No, you got to do your starts.
Start him.
Oh,
Start
starts. Sorry, starting. Starting running backs. Yes, I've got to start. I'm going to start Tevin Coleman against the Panthers. I think he can have a big game for them. Good in the passing game, I think better than Freeman. So I think he's going to be the back with the bigger game in Atlanta. I'm going with Derek. I like Dwayne Washington. I was talking in our chat room with a bunch of people to keep an eye on him for the upcoming weeks. I think he starts to have a big games against the Bears.
Yeah, I noticed that
and then,
on your roster.
Yeah, I like him. He's not the best shiftiest runner, but he's got great speed and he's a great receiver, and I think the Lions could use that pretty well. And the Chargers, I got to go with Melvin Gordon against the Saints. He's going to run up all over those guys.
Mel G. What were your two running backs, Derek, besides Washington?
Yeah,
Melvin Gordon and Ezekiel Elliott.
Gordon and Elliott, yeah.
Zeke and Mel G. All right. Sit-ems. Matt Forte against the Seattle Seahawks. I think the 30 carries a game caught up with him against Kansas City.
Oh, no, he's 30 years old. He can do that all year.
Exactly. And you know what? They got beat up by Kansas City, and to think that Kansas City isn't even close to being the defense that Seattle is. So, yeah, I'm not seeing too many good things there. Matt Forte is the sit of the week for me. Okay. At running back, I'm going to pull a Nick on this one. Any Giants running back?
Watch out for Paul Perkins, though. Paul Perkins is the ad there.
Yeah, I still don't think in Minnesota Paul Perkins is going to have his breakout game. So.
Not the way that
And staying in that same game, I say sit Jerick McKinnon because I think the Giants are gonna slow him down. They're gonna have to worry about guys like Rudolph, Diggs, things like that. I don't think that the running game is gonna intimidate the Giants too much, but the passing game is definitely something they got to be concerned about. All right, Derek.
All right. The two I have from my article are Christine Michael against the Jets. The Jets are one of the best run defenses in the league. I don't think that he's going to do much there. This might be a little bit of a surprise, but I wouldn't start Frank Gore this week. Now, here's why. You would think with Jacksonville, 0-3, bad team, that that he'd be a good play. They'd be up quite a bit, but Jacksonville is 6th against fantasy running backs for whatever reason. So it's a much tougher matchup than what it looks like at first glance. And I would sit Chris Ivory as well. The Jacksonville offense just has not shown that it's competent. They've lost a couple offensive linemen. I think they're going to have a really bad game over there. I don't think he's going to do a ton.
Hey, Derek, you missed your opportunity. You should have said the Jags running back.
No, I just take one. I haven't displayed enough talent yet to take entire rosters of players. I'm going to limit my exposure to just one player. Maybe I'm who to start. I'll just say anybody, and that way when one of them breaks out, I can be like, see, there you go.
Do that. Anybody on the team playing Cleveland this week, start them.
They're all going to be
Nick?
And with that said, Nick, who you sitting?
Yeah. Well, you already heard one of them, Chris and Michael. I'm starting the guy on the other, or sitting the guy on the other side too. Matt Forte is my other one. He's there. That's going to be a game that's probably going to be about 13-12, and I don't see a lot of points being scored there. And another one I'm going to sit. I'm going to be bold on this one, and I'm going to say sit Todd Gurley against the Cardinals.
Gurley. Yeah, I like that sit. But wait a second.
Pick right there.
Yeah, that is kind of a bold pick, especially when McCoy shredded the Cardinals on Sunday.
Yeah, I just think that they don't have to worry about any kind of quarterback there. So I think the Cardinals are going to have a game plan to stop him.
Enough said. They're in Arizona. Enough said. All right, next up are the wide receivers. Marvin Jones.
You're going to ride that train, huh?
Huh?
You're going to ride that train, huh?
That Chicago defense, man, that's a gold mine for fantasy points, dude. That's a well that you want to continuously go and pull from. You know what I'm saying?
It's a bottomless cup.
There you go. All right. I just think, again, Stafford's just going to go off on the Bears, and Marvin Jones seems to be the guy. As a matter of fact, Golden Tate seems to become nothing but a memory over there because Anquan Bolden is even getting more action than him, So, T.Y. Hilton against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just think T.Y. goes crazy.
Man has one good week.
Yeah. What? T.Y.?
Yeah.
T.Y.'s had like 3 good years.
Exactly.
A good player.
Hey, that 1 week is more than some guys scoring an entire fantasy season.
More than the Browns have had in the last decade.
Yeah.
Watch it, Junior. I don't know. Josh Gordon did it pretty well a couple of years ago now.
And then my third spot, I'm going to go Larry Fitzgerald against the Los Angeles Rams.
That's a little bit of a bold prediction there.
Yeah, I'm going to go Larry Fitzgerald. Only because, you know what? I think Michael Floyd's getting iced out over there in Arizona because it seems like they're going more now to the 2 Browns and Larry Fitzgerald. And the old guy seems to have caught a second wind in his life because he's playing out of his mind right now. And I don't blame him for last Sunday because it looked like the entire Arizona team had flown out to Buffalo Saturday night to play a Sunday afternoon game.
And they went to the bar all night long before the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they had cocktails on the plane all the way there. You know what I'm saying? That's what they look like when they first came out. So I don't see that happening going back home. I wouldn't want to be the Rams right now. They're going to get cocky because they scored 37 points against Tampa. But that's Tampa. This is Arizona. I don't like their chances too much. All right. That's me for receiver starting.
All right. And then mine, I would start Mike Wallace this week. Oakland is 32nd in fantasy points allowed to wide receivers. Flacco loves the deep ball. I think Wallace is going to get behind the secondary and have a couple long plays, maybe even a long touchdown.
He's having somewhat of a resurgence in Buffalo. By Baltimore. He's finding his skill again.
He has one route he can run, and that's the fly route. And the last two places he's played, he really hasn't played with a quarterback or in an offense that throws that. And in Baltimore, they love the play action to go with the deep throw, and he's excelling in that Torrey Smith role of going deep.
Yeah.
I would start Jamison Crowder. He is currently the 28th ranked receiver in standard leagues. He has a lot of upside in PPR. Cleveland's secondary has been a mess this year, and I think Kirk Cousins is going to play well at home, and they're going to target him a lot.
I got him starting.
Yeah. And then I'm going to go with Jarvis Landry tonight on Thursday Night Football. I was reading Roto World before the show, and it looks like he's going to be good to go. Cincinnati, you think of them as traditionally being a good defense, but they're 25th against fantasy receivers through 3 weeks. I think Jarvis Landry is going to have a big game on Thursday night.
Wow. All righty then.
Mr. Nick.
And my starts are going to be, I had him last week and he let me down, but Tajay Sharp from the Titans. I'm not a big fan of that Texans secondary, and I think he can get open and see a lot of passes there. I also got to jump on the bandwagon too for Marvin Jones. When Derek and I were going over our ratings for the year, I told him I really liked Marvin Jones in Detroit for some reason, and I couldn't explain why. And now we're seeing why. So he's another one.
We had Jones ahead of Golden Tate most toward the end of the offseason, and there we had Tate way overrated, or we have way lower compared to a lot of other sites.
Look, you could put Tate behind Bolden these days.
I think so.
Yeah. Tate's just not that good. And a guy bounced back. I like Kelvin Benjamin against the Falcons.
Tate had a great time because Calvin Johnson was there.
He's never been a big touchdown scorer. Even in Seattle, he only scored like 4 or 5 touchdowns a year, and that's what he's done in Detroit. He'll get 70, 80 grabs, but no touchdowns.
But me being a PPR player, he does pile up a lot of receptions, and that's what makes him, a good PPR player. So
that's why I hate full PPR leagues and prefer either standard or half PPR.
All right, so you got Kelvin Benjamin.
Yep.
Well, I don't think he could do any worse than he did last week, right?
Well, probably not. Well, if he has like one catch for 0 yards and a fumble, he could do worse. But I don't think he'll do that.
If he catches it, goes 1 yard and fumbles, that's a -1. Yeah, he could right there a Reggie Bush in the negative column. All right, so for the sit-ems, Brandon Marshall against Seattle. He's kind of gimpy. He's going to have Richard Sherman shadowing him. Richard Sherman is a handful even when you're healthy.
I don't think Sherman's going to shadow him, though, because Sherman stays camped on one side of the field. If the Jets want to move him around, they can at least move him away from him.
I still say sit Brandon Marshall. All right, and because of this Minnesota defense, I'm going to go out and say sit Sterling Shepard. Okay, I don't think he's going to. I really, that's going to be another one of those games that could turn out to be, 17-12 or something of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So I said Sterling Shepard this week. And for the Ram, I said Tavon Austin. I know he had a big week, but it was against Tampa Bay. Now they're going up against Arizona. Tavon Austin gets shut down. And those are my sits at wide receiver.
All right. And for mine, I have Eric Decker in the article, but the thing is he isn't practicing, and I don't know if he's going to play or not. I don't want to take a guy that's injured. So is there any way we can put on the list that if Eric Decker starts, sit him? Otherwise, if Eric Decker sits, then sit Brandon Marshall?
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so start Decker unless he's injured.
Right. I put a little asterisk next to it. So
I'm not trying to take a player that's not going to play.
But then put more.
I don't.
Anyway, right?
Right.
Okay.
And then this is going to be kind of interesting because he was in Nick's start category. He's in my sit category. I would not start Sharp from the Tennessee Titans. Taj Sharp would be on my bench. Texans are fourth against fantasy receivers this year. I know J.J. Watt's hurt, but he just has not played very well the last couple weeks, and that's a guy I would sit.
If it was in Tennessee, I could see differently, but in Houston, I just don't see it happening. For sure. And finally?
Let's hit Michael Floyd from the Arizona Cardinals for some of the same reasons you were saying before. It just looks like they're targeting Fitzgerald all the time, and then the Browns, David Johnson's got a huge role there, and the Rams are 11th against fantasy receivers, so I don't know if this is going to be a game where Floyd's going to break out.
Using concussion protocol, too, Floyd, I believe.
Well, let me pick somebody else then. I want to take somebody that's not going to play.
No. He's actually saying he was coming off concussion protocol.
Oh.
Breaking out of tonight's game, Damian Williams is going to start at running back for the Dolphins tonight.
Still going to be a committee. I don't think it matters who they sit there and announce as the starters. There's going to be 3 or 4 guys that are going to see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no Dolphins running backs. Hey, who you sitting, Nick?
Well, Derek mentioned Jamison Crowder in the start. I'm sitting Deshaun Jackson for the Redskins against the Browns. I think Hayden's starting to come around, and Jackson is too reliant on the big play on the deep ball, and I don't think he's going to get one that game. So I'm sitting him.
I think Cousins has to get his game back together before he starts venturing deep.
Yeah. And what's the word on Sammy Watkins? Is he in or out?
Done.
I haven't looked at that.
I wouldn't even put it out there.
I wouldn't even.
All right.
Yeah, I wouldn't even use
okay.
it for any part of this.
never mind. I'm going to start Sid Jeremy Maclin against the Steelers.
Maclin?
I think. Yep. And I'm also going to sit Sterling Shepard. I don't like him against the Vikings either. Their pass rush looks great, and their whole defense is playing really well.
Damn it, they shut down Kelvin Benjamin 0 points.
Yeah.
Well, I think Cam Newton shut Kelvin Benjamin down, or the offensive coordinator shut Kelvin Benjamin down.
Well, they only threw at him one time.
Oh, it just goes to my point, though. If they can shut down the multi-dimensional Cam Newton, what are they going to do with the pocket Manning? They're going to be all over.
Sack him a lot.
And he's got no running game either.
Manning barely runs better than his brother did.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're rolling all over the tight ends, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just aside from that, as mobile as Archie was, you'd think that he would translate to his boys, but he didn't. But they didn't get his speed, that's for sure.
Well, they got their mama's legs.
Yeah.
Well, it was a different game in the 70s or 80s. If Archie would have been playing in the 2000s, he wouldn't look like Michael Vick either.
Yeah.
he probably would have looked like
Archie was running for his life most of the time in New Orleans too. So.
Yeah. All right, starting tight ends. I'm going with Eric Ebron against the Chicago Bears. I'm sticking with that Detroit theme. I think Detroit's just going to destroy Chicago, I just got this feeling. It's not going to be pretty. Dennis Pitta for Baltimore. I think Joe Flacco, Flacco's main guy is Dennis Pitta. He likes going to Pitta a lot. and that Oakland defense got nothing on nobody. As a matter of fact, they made they might make Steve Smith look like the old Steve Smith this weekend. That Oakland defense.
I love his trash talking, though.
And on the other side of that Chicago game, I'm going to start Zach Miller against Detroit. I think he showed especially when you got Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer is going to go to Zach Miller pretty much all the time because he's just Brian Hoyer. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think Zach Miller is going to come off this last performance and pretty much match it against Detroit.
All right, and I like Jason Witten against the San Francisco 49ers. They're 29th against fantasy tight ends, and it looks like Des Bryant is a candidate to miss this week, so that could mean even more targets for Jason Witten. I think he'll be heavily involved in their game plan.
Real quick.
What's that?
As a sleeper wide receiver, because of what you just said, Des Bryant, Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley. Also, Bryce Butler is another one because he would be the receiver. He played okay the last couple games of the year last year for them, and he hasn't been able to get on the field, but he might now.
It seems like Prescott and Beasley have this connection, though.
Yep.
You know?
Well, Beasley, I would start way ahead of Butler, but that's another guy that's going to walk in there because of this Bryant thing. Hunter Henry, I would start him. Gates missed practice again today. He looks like he's going to miss for a second straight week. That New Orleans secondary can't guard any tight ends, so I think he's a very good sleeper play. And I kind of went with two lower tight ends just to kind of give me one of the big ones. I would go with Jordan Reed against the Cleveland this week. They're 19th against fantasy tight ends. He's kind of had a slow start. They got to start getting him involved, and I think at home against Cleveland they might be able to do that this week.
He's in my lineup. Nick?
Yeah, I thought about taking all those guys because I really like Hunter Henry this week. So he's a starter for me. I think you got to start Eric Ebron against the Bears. And Jason Witten, I don't see the 49ers stopping him at all. I think you can have a big game against them.
Okay. All right, so for the sits, Ifeanyi Moma.
Who?
Ifeanyi Moma.
That's easy for you to say.
You guys don't know who he is?
Nobody does.
Hey, he's good friends. He's good friends with CJ Usama.
Which nobody knew who he was either.
No, you guys didn't know who he is. You're sounding like Trump. Nobody knew who he was. Everybody thinks he's great.
Here we go. Now, you guys didn't know who Moma was. So how does it feel? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, moving right along. That was a bogus pick, by the way. Gary Barnidge. Sit him.
Yeah. I hope he burned your ass.
Doesn't burn anybody else's ass. Why start with mine? All right. Next up, I say sit Martellus Bennett. I think this week Gronk actually gets a little bit of action. And Bennett is slowly going to get phased out because Gronk, Gronk's the man. Dude. Gronk is the man. And if Garoppolo comes back, definitely Gronk's going to get some heavy action from Garoppolo. So, and finally, good old Clive over there in Oakland. Clive Walford. I'm sitting him. He's not impressed me at all. He looks lazy. He looks like he's just collecting a paycheck every time he goes out on that football field. So,
tell us how you really feel about him.
Huh?
Tell us how you really feel about him.
I'm just sorry. He came so highly touted, and he just fell flat on his face right out the gate against the New Orleans Saints, scoring 4 fantasy points. Come on,
but he rebounded for a touchdown the next week, and he had a touchdown called back on a penalty by somebody else on the team last week. So I haven't written him off yet, but I agree with you. Ravens are usually good against the tight end. This isn't.
Bad things happen to bad talent. more often than it happens.
Very true.
And then for me, I would sit Jesse James. He's been kind of an intriguing streamer. It has nothing to do with him scoring 3 points last week. I think the offense will get back on track, but Kansas City's third against fantasy tight end, so I don't think he's going to be one that helps them do it. I would sit Martellus Bennett. With Gronk back last week, he was a decoy. He's going to be a big part of their offense, and I don't know without Brady if the offense is going to support 2 tight ends yet. So I would stay clear of him and wait till Brady gets back. And I'm going to say sit Jimmy Graham. I know he had the 100-yard game last week, and that people are pretty excited about that. He had a couple good games last year and then could never really really build on the momentum. I still don't think they love to throw to the tight end, and I'm not sure that that's the guy that's going to expose the Jets secondary. So I'd stay clear of him too.
I'm sitting Dennis Pitta. I know all about the Ravens defense, but I think it's going to be the receivers in that game. I'm also sitting Zach Miller because I hate that Bears quarterback. They don't even have a quarterback on that team right now. And also I'm sitting Jimmy Graham against the Jets. Their defense is just fantastic, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of yards and points in that game.
All right. Now kickers. Woo! Who cares?
Yeah.
That's why you only pick one, Elliot.
You're right. The one constant that Nick is right on every week, the kicker.
Nick's famous name kickers, who cares? But yet that was the only category he got right that night besides defense.
Yeah. Who cares?
There's saving grace, Nick.
Yeah.
Who cares?
All right. I say start Blair Walsh against the Giants on Monday night. I could see Minnesota moving the ball some against the Giants defense, but the Giants defense will buckle up and keep them short. If they score, I could see them scoring like 19 points, 4 field goals and a touchdown or something of that nature against the Giants. So I go with Blair Walsh to start the game, or as my starter. Must start. Go ahead.
Mine's going to be Adam Vinatieri. The Jaguars are giving up the 5th most points to fantasy kickers, almost 10 points a game. I think Vinatieri's going to have a good game over there.
Mr. Who cares?
Mr. Who Cares is taking Dan Bailey again. My reason for that is rookie quarterbacks have a hard time getting into the end zone. So the team stalls in the red zone and they kick a lot of field goals. And so that's my logic there.
So what's Charlie Whitehurst's excuse? He ain't a rookie no more.
Check down Charlie. Check down Charlie can't get into field goal ranges.
Hey, Nick, do you know any other kickers? Because you've been picking him every single week, dude.
And am I wrong every single week on this?
I was going to pick Tucker again because he's been doing well for me. Just keep picking Justin Tucker.
Tucker's the dude.
Yeah, you got to go with the hot hand.
What I'm saying is sit Sebastian Janikowski. I just don't see the Raiders are going to be boom or bust on their offense. It's going to be touchdowns or nothing, and very few field goal attempts, I think. So Janikowski is a sit for me.
I'm going to say sit Matt Bryant.
Falcons kicker.
The Falcons kicker, yes. I'm not buying into Atlanta's offense quite yet, and Carolina's pretty good against fantasy kickers. I mean, Atlanta is number 1 in yards and points right now, but they played the Saints, the Raiders, and the Buccaneers, and those are 3 of the worst defenses in the league. I think they're going to have a little more problems with the ball this week.
The grimace on Scott's face every time somebody, they're awful. All right, go ahead, Nick.
Any Bears kicker. I'm sitting.
Any Bears kicker not named Robbie Gold, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
I just don't trust them to move the ball. So I don't think they're going to have a lot of scoring opportunities.
So Connor Barth, basically.
Connor Barf this week.
Barf.
All right. And now we're on defense, right? Arizona, for me, starting against the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, because it worked so well for them last week.
Well, regardless of the fact that they gave up those points to Buffalo, they still scored 16 fantasy points. So they had an awful game, and they were still 16 fantasy points up.
True.
So that's a defense that is opportunistic. They will force turnovers. If they give up a few points, they're still going to give you representative fantasy points. And I think after what happened to them in Buffalo this week, that defense got a chewing, and they're going to come out like a buzzsaw.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
So, Cardinals defense.
I'm going to say start Minnesota. We've been talking about sitting all these Giants players, and they lead the league in sacks. The Giants are going in there without any running game. It's at home. They made Cam Newton and Aaron Rodgers look mediocre the last couple of weeks. I don't think Eli's going to do a lot there. I'd start Minnesota.
Good call.
Yeah, I'm on that bandwagon too. I think you got to start Minnesota. They're the number one fantasy defense right now, so keep rolling with that.
Yeah, I told my son over in my other league, I said, yo, dude, are you going to drop that Detroit defense and get on that Viking defense? I can understand why he had the Detroit defense on his roster.
Yeah, Detroit would be a good play this week against the Bears, I think. They were another choice for me. I was thinking about going that direction, but
I'm not a huge fan of Detroit. I actually think that's going to be a high-scoring game. That has shootout written all over it, even with Brian Hoyer there.
Okay, and guess what? My sit for defense is not the Cleveland Browns.
Wow. Well, that's just too damn obvious.
is it the Cleveland Saints?
No, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Denver's going to go in there and trash the Tampa defense, kind of the same way Carson Palmer did, kind of the same way Case Keenum did. Yeah, okay.
Look at Brett, the sucking ears.
Yep. Yeah, Tampa must sit. I just, after what I saw they did against the Rams, a team that did not have a touchdown, had a total of 9 points, a 4.4 scoring average, going in on the road, and they gave up 37 points. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I got to sit the Tampa defense this week.
So I suppose I can't take it easy and just say sit the Saints defense or something like that, right?
Well, let's not get obvious now.
I would sit the Los Angeles Rams this week. They've been a pretty good defense, but I think going into Arizona's going to be pretty motivated after what happened in Buffalo last week, and we've seen what they can do. And plus, if the Rams' offense is turning the ball over nonstop against Arizona, puts the defense in bad spots. So I take a pass on the Rams.
All right. Wrap it up for us, Nick.
I'm sitting the Dolphins tonight against the Bengals. Miami's looked pretty good on, I guess, sort of good at times on defense, and I know they're owned in a lot of fantasy leagues, but I would not play them tonight.
All right, so that
We'll
takes
see how you bums do this week.
Hey, one of those bums.
Hey.
Yeah, that's right. You are one of those bums now, so you better be watching out.
Okay, so looks like we're running low on time, and so it's getting close to game time in about an hour or so. Miami at Cincinnati. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna make a wager guess here that everybody in this room and in the show is taking freaking Cincinnati.
I am.
Yep.
No.
Really?
Which the
No,
one
not
thing that
really.
does scare me about that is Andy Dalton has been awful in primetime games. I think his record in primetime games is 4-9, and that doesn't count all those playoff losses that he's had either. I think if you add those, and he's 4-14 in those games. So I would not use this as an eliminator pick, and I wouldn't put tons of high points on it because I would not be shocked if Miami pulled the upset. But I still think Cincinnati can't go 1-3, and I think they figured out a way to win the game.
Nick, are you really picking Miami?
No, I'm not.
Because I was going to say, if you're picking Miami, then I was going to turn around to you and say, well, no wonder why you stink in the league, the NFL league.
Well,
you know
Jeff,
what?
tell us how you really feel, brother.
I think I'm gonna take advantage of that and say everybody's picking Cincinnati, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead and jot that down now.
Yeah.
Get that out of the way. Everybody's going with Cincinnati tonight, and as long as we don't repeat last week's performance, we should be okay.
What's the spread on tonight's game? I thought it was a pretty high spread, like 6 points or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not in the spread, so I wouldn't be.
I don't know, but I know 94% of the people in the league are taking them.
Only spreads I'm into is the stuff I put on my bread, dude.
Yeah, Cincinnati's like a 7.5, 8 point favorite. I don't think Cincinnati's going to cover the spread. I think it's going to be a close game.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think Cincinnati's going to win somewhere between a field goal and 7 points.
Well, I had thought about the score, and I'm thinking that Cincinnati's going to win that 23-16.
I think it's going to get a little higher scoring than that.
Yeah.
And your survival pick team of the week is Washington playing Cleveland, right?
Yes.
Even though both of them are 0-2, right?
Who's 0-2?
No,
Washington's 1-2 now.
Washington's 1-2 and Cleveland's 0-3.
0-3, right.
If McCown was playing in that game, I probably would stay away from a survivor. I just don't think you can win with Cody Kessler at quarterback. And I got to take teams that I don't think are that good because you got to take 17 different teams, and I would take advantage of the chance to use Washington.
Right, and I got to pick Washington sooner or later, so I might as well pick them while they're playing Cleveland.
I also wouldn't pick him if it was in Cleveland, but it's in Washington. I know Washington lost 2 home games. I can't see him going 0-3 at home to start the year with this loss.
Next week, it's easy because I'm picking the Pats to beat Cleveland.
Okay, and because we're talking about the Miami game tonight with Cincinnati, let's go ahead and do the high lows for this game. You guys ready?
Yep.
Let's blow through these really quick so we can get a move on here. Ryan Tannehill, 12.5, higher or lower, starting with Nick.
I think he goes a little bit higher than that.
Higher for Tannehill at 12.5. Okay. Derek?
I think he goes a lot higher than that.
Scott?
Yeah, higher.
And I'll also say higher. Okay. Williams, the running back for Miami. 10.5, higher or lower?
I would say lower.
Yeah, lower.
Lower? Derek?
That's
Lower?
enough touches.
Scott? Lower?
Yeah.
And I'm
Damian Williams is starting. Yes, that's correct.
Damian Williams. That's the one I was looking at. All right. Jarvis Landry, 14.5, higher or lower?
Higher. Cincinnati's 25th against fantasy receivers. Their secondary's been terrible to start the year.
Higher.
Everybody higher?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Jay Ajayi, 7.5, higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower.
I forget he got in the end zone last week. Lower?
I'm going to go higher. Just because Williams is starting doesn't mean I think he's going to see the most carries, and 7.5 isn't a lot of points for a running back.
It's not. That's why I'm going higher as well. Franks, what's his first name? The picture.
It's not Bubba.
The kicker, his name's Franks. 6.5, higher or lower?
Yeah, for the Dolphins?
That's the Dolphins kicker. I think it's, is it Andrew?
Andrew Frank?
That'd be right.
That sounds 6.5.
Yeah.
Higher.
Derek?
Higher.
Scott?
Yeah, higher.
Andy Dalton, 18.5, higher or lower?
I'm going to go lower on that.
Higher.
Who said higher?
Jeff.
That was Jeff.
Yeah.
Nick?
18.5.
Yeah.
Lower.
Derek?
Yeah, if you want to look for a garbage primetime performer, it's this guy. I would say lower.
Okay. I'm going to go higher. I'm going to be different for the first time here on this thing. Giovanni Bernard, 9.5, higher or lower?
Good man, Elliot.
Higher.
Yeah, he's a Dalton fan. Higher? Derek?
I'm higher as well. I have Cincinnati winning the game, so if I have Dalton not scoring that many points, it's got to be because I think the running backs are going to do well.
Scott?
Yeah, higher.
And
Bernard's a
I'm
bit-
going
I get the-
higher with Bernard. Now, Jeremy Hill in the same game, 13.5, higher or lower?
I think Bernard gets the majority of the carries. I think I'm going to say lower.
I'm going to say lower as well.
I'm going to say higher.
And Derek's the only one out on that limb, as I'm going lower as well. AJ Green, 17.5, higher or lower?
I'm going to say lower because of how bad Andy Dalton does on primetime games.
Where's that first time?
Lower.
Lower? Derek?
I'm going to go higher. I don't think a lot of the players are going to do well in the Cincinnati passing game, but I think the one player that is going to be Green.
I'm with you on that one. And finally, Nugent, Mike Nugent, 9.5, higher or lower?
I think the kickers are going to have good games. I'm going to say higher.
Yeah.
I'm going to go
I'm going to say
lower.
lower. I think he has 9. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think lower.
Yeah, I'm going to go lower as well.
Not by much. He's going to be right around it, but I think it'll be just a little bit lower.
Just a tad.
I think he gets 9 tonight. Not 9.5, but 9.
Okay, so we got the higher lowers for tonight's game. Now we get to go to the long list. The rest of the games of the week. All right. Starting with, you know what? I'm just going to start with Scott, Derek second, Nick third, and I'll bring up the rear. All right. Indianapolis, Frank Gore, 15.5. Scott.
Playing Jacksonville. I'm going to say lower.
Derek.
Lower. Jacksonville's 6th against fantasy running backs. That's, I don't know why, but they stop them, so lower.
Lower.
I agree. Julius Thomas, 11.5, higher or lower?
I'm going to say lower.
Derek?
I agree.
Nick?
Higher.
I'm with Nick on this one. I think Thomas is gonna. They're in London, so anything can happen. It's a neutral field. You know, maybe that's what Jacksonville needs, a neutral field. They can't play at home or on the road.
They need a neutral coach.
They need a neutral atmosphere, right? All right.
Just a reminder, the Jacksonville game will be on during our show Sunday morning.
Well, yeah, they were on all the games last year when I was on the other show. Same thing.
Oh, yeah.
The game was
I
on.
might have to move my computer out to my living room so I got the TV on so I can watch the game at the same time as the show.
What's wrong with the one behind you?
That's not hooked up into any cable or anything like that.
Now
It's just there for show then. Okay.
Yeah, it's so that I can work out with it. It uses exercise videos and stuff like that, so I can stay positive.
Okay.
Yeah. How's it working out for you, Derek?
Good, it's working good.
Doesn't look like it's working at all, Derek.
He's got to stop wearing those heavy clothes, man.
You can't see what I got going on under here. So.
Oh, I've seen pictures of you on Facebook. I know what's going on over there.
Yeah, he is kind of on the chunky side a little bit. So,
Look at this.
yeah, just a little.
He's like Eddie Lacy. He's just thick.
He's like Eddie Lacy.
No way. He's better in condition than Eddie Lacy is.
called
Without a
you
doubt.
He just compared you to Eddie Lacy.
Yeah, he's thick. Eddie Lacy's a thick guy.
Hey,
Yeah.
if I gave up beer for a couple of weeks, it would be a whole new ball game. So.
Well, since that ain't gonna happen, it's gonna be the same old ball game, right?
There you go.
Hey, if you're okay with it, so are we.
I feel like an Argentinian supermodel right now. So wherever she's from.
That would be Venezuelan.
Venezuelan, okay. It was in South America.
Yes. Okay. In the Carolina-Atlanta game, here's an interesting one because these guys combined for a total of 2.6 points this week. So, Kelvin Benjamin, 14.5 higher or lower.
You know, I'm going to go higher because
really quick. One thing really quick. Cam came out saying that in his career, Kelvin Benjamin will never go without a catch again.
Yeah, I'm going to go higher. I think Kelvin Benjamin goes off on that Atlanta defense.
Me too.
He does have a tough matchup against Trufant, but we saw what he did up in Denver when they targeted the don't give that look, Scott. Trufant is a good cover corner. The rest of the defense can't cover. But look at what Trufant did to Brandon Cooks.
Is that a higher?
No, yes, it's still a higher, yes. I was going to say, he played against the top Denver secondary, and he still.
You're going to say higher anyway. What the hell are you talking about? Come on.
Yes, no, but maybe so.
Yes. He's got a tough matchup with a corner, but they will exploit it anyway.
All right, and Nick?
Higher.
All right. And on the flip side, it's Julio, 12.5 higher or lower.
Lower.
I said lower.
I say higher.
Yeah, higher.
Yeah, I'm going to go higher, too. I don't think Julio was too thrilled about getting one catch all game. That doesn't happen, but once every 75 years or something like that?
Yeah, he torched them for 170 yards last year.
Yeah. I look for a bounce-back game from Julio Jones. All right, Latavius Murray, 10.5, higher or lower? Scott?
10.5?
Yep. Latavius Murray in Baltimore.
I'm going to go lower.
Lower.
I'm going to go higher. He scored a touchdown in every game, and as long as he's finding the end zone like that, he's going to go higher.
Yeah, I'm going to say higher.
Yeah, I'm going to stay higher as well. He gets the lion's share. So, the odds are he's going to get in that end zone. And he's capable of doing that from the pass as well, from the passing game as well. So, ain't no reason that they should stop him this week from getting in the end zone. All right, and then the old guy, Steve Smith, 9.5, higher or lower?
Lower.
I'm still not buying into him. He had a decent game last week, but I don't think he's going to do it. I'm going to go lower.
Nick?
Well, I'm saying lower.
I'm going to go higher, and only because I've seen that. Okay, Mike Wallace is the big boomer bust when it comes to the long pass. Okay, but I've seen Joe Flacco finding his comfort with Pitta And even with Steve Smith as of the last game. I know the first 2 games he wasn't really, but that's progression. And I think if Wallace can't get open for the deep stuff, then Steve Smith is going to catch a lot of the short stuff and run around and stuff. So I think he can score more than 9.5 points. So I'm going to go higher.
I think last week was an anomaly, not a progression, but we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, think about it. We went 16 out of 40, so we can't really, rely on our previous history to say whether we're going to be right or wrong.
I don't care. I'll talk big whether I'm behind or not. I don't care.
We were both awful last week. All right, Theo Riddick, 13.5, higher or lower?
Higher.
I'm going to say lower. I think Dwayne Washington is going to get a lot of run.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm saying lower.
I think Dwayne Washington is that back that Detroit's missing, the one that can do pretty much all of it. He can run tackles.
Yeah, you think he's like 6'1", 220, 225. He's got 4.4 speed. I mean, he's not very shifty, and he needs help with the vision a little bit, but he is a rookie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a very good receiver.
And Riddick,
so I think
impressed me last week either. So
Riddick
is not your 3-down back. That's just all there is to it.
No, he's not.
Dwayne Washington fits that role better. So I think they're going to ease him. I don't even think they're going to ease him in this week. I think he's going to split the load with Theo Riddick.
I think Washington's good for 15 to 18 carries this week.
All right. Jordan Howard, 13.5, higher or lower?
Jordan Howard.
Yeah, running back for the Bears. He's not stepping in for Jeremy
I'm
Lang.
going to go higher.
Same here.
Yep.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I mean, he just looks like a burst waiting to happen every time he touches. And Detroit really doesn't have a defense to stop something like that. He's faster than Langford. I just think he's gonna run with this opportunity, and if Langford might be hard pressed to come back in 4 to 6 weeks and find himself getting the start of the number 1 back carries that he was getting up until this point. So, I take Howard higher. All right, next up, Tennessee, DeMarco Murray, 15.5, higher or lower? Against Houston. No J.J. Watt.
I'm going to go higher. No J.J. Watt.
Yeah, I agree. Higher. He's been running good. He's been catching good. Been a top 10 fantasy running back without Watt there. That's a good matchup.
I'm going to go lower.
Nick's going out on a limb with lower. All right. Houston, Lamar Miller, 15.5, higher or lower? Scott?
I'm going to go lower.
Lower?
I'm going to go lower, too. I think it's going to be barely. Maybe one of those where he gets 14.5 or 15, but he's been finding the end zone. He's not averaging a ton of carries, and Tennessee's pretty tough against the run, so I'm going to say lower.
Well, the way Osweiler's been throwing the ball, they might want to run more.
They're giving him the ball, though. He's getting a ton of attempts, but no yards per carry and no touchdowns.
Yeah, my fantasy team needs some production, so I'm saying higher. Higher.
That's an emotional pick.
It is an emotional pick, but I think it's a calculated emotional pick.
You know what? I'm going to go out there with Nick and say higher. I think Lamar Miller, I think now that you see what Brock Osweiler is all about, Lamar Miller is going to have to carry that burden a little bit more.
Personally, I thought this was what Brock Osweiler was all about in the first place. I expect him to be a work in progress and for him to actually not have a good season. So I think, he's serviceable enough to get the ball to Hopkins, and I think that's good enough to open things up for Miller, but it hasn't happened
Hey,
yet.
listen, the Broncos are happy. They didn't have to pay $18 million for Trevor Siemian, and I think Trevor Siemian is probably one of the Osweiler.
You know where Lamar Miller ranks, though, in carries this year? He's second with 74. LeGarrette Blount leads the league with 75.
Wow, so he's not getting those yards per carry.
He's at 3.64 yards per carry and has no touchdowns. That's been the problem, and only 11 targets in the passing game. But he's getting carries. He's
That's
just
where
not doing
that's
it.
where I thought and that's where I thought you'd see production, a lot of production from Lamar Miller was in the passing game there, and it's just
Buffalo, Tyrod Taylor, 12.5, higher or lower? Against New England.
I'm saying lower.
Yeah, lower.
I'm going to trust Belichick to come up with a scheme to limit his rushing, so I'll say lower.
Yeah, I'm saying lower too. Gronk, 8.5, higher or lower?
I still say lower.
Yeah, if he plays higher, definitely higher.
I like Gronk to go higher. I think last week was his ease-in game, and I think it looks like Garoppolo's on pace to play. Now, if Garoppolo doesn't play, then he might not get there, but if Garoppolo does, I think he easily gets there.
Yeah.
He's going to be a game-time decision for me, depending on who's starting the quarterback.
Yeah.
I've got him on one of my fantasy leagues. I'm just going to see if Garoppolo plays, I'll start Gronk.
There's no mulligans here.
Then no. What's that?
You don't get a mulligan. All right, next up, Kristen Michael, 13.5, higher or lower?
Yeah, I'm going lower.
I'm going to go lower, even though,
Yeah,
because Jets run defenses.
It is a bell cow, but it's a bad defensive matchup. The Jets.
So you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and put an L next to this next one. Matt Forte, 16.5, higher or lower?
Lower.
Mm-hmm.
I already fill those in, man. Don't worry about it. That was my complimentary premonition thing. All right. Duke Johnson, 16.5, higher or lower?
Duke Johnson? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Lower.
I'll say lower.
How many was it again?
16.5.
Yeah, I think he's a decent flex play this week, but that seems like too many points, so I'll go lower.
All right. Kirk Cousins, 18.5, higher or lower?
Higher.
I'm going higher.
Higher.
I think he goes higher.
Okay. Trevor Siemian, 17.5, higher or lower?
I'm saying lower.
So am I. He's got to show me more than one good game.
Yeah.
Even though it is Tampa.
Lower also?
Yeah, lower.
Okay, I'm going higher. That's my calculated emotional pick.
Hoping that started with Russell Wilson pays off, right?
Yeah, there you go. Carl Sims, 17.5, higher or lower?
Lower.
Yeah, lower.
Lower. I think that was a fluke what happened
Against Denver?
against Denver
Well,
last
and
week.
it's Denver. He's playing. Yeah. He's not Jeremy Hill.
Yeah, no doubt. But neither is Jeremy Hill.
Doug Martin maybe could do it, but not him.
Gurley, 14.5, higher or lower?
You know, I'm saying lower because I told you to sit him.
Yeah, I'm saying lower too.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to go higher.
Gurley against the Cardinals, huh? Okay. Fitz, 15.5, higher or lower?
Fitz? Lower.
How many points?
15.5.
I'm gonna go higher. He's played some of his best games of his career against the Rams.
Nick?
Oh, higher. Higher.
Mark Ingram against San Diego, 16.5, higher or lower?
Higher.
Lower.
Wait a minute. I heard higher, lower. Scott, higher?
Lower.
Lower?
I had higher.
Derek's higher.
That's a tough one. I'm going to say lower. That could be one of those games where they just pass every down.
I'll go with lower.
So, regardless of what the score is, because they've been known to do that.
Melvin Gordon, 20.5, higher or lower?
20.5? Are you kidding me?
It's New Orleans. Look what Freeman and Coleman did to New Orleans.
Up and away.
Yep, I'm saying higher.
Higher.
I don't like that number. I'm scared of it. I'm gonna go lower.
Both the Atlanta running backs had a smidge under 30 points. Both of them. I just want both. Okay. Gordon's going to run roughshod all over this New Orleans defense.
Yes, he is.
Especially when
Atlanta's
out ahead, and then all San Diego's going to do is run the ball.
Yeah, Atlanta's line's a little bit better than San Diego's, but it's only one quarterback. I'm sure he could get there.
Yeah.
Or one running back. I mean,
Running back.
I'm sure he could. Yeah. He doesn't have to split the time anymore.
San Francisco, Blaine Gabbert, 15.5, higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower.
I'm going to say higher.
I got a feeling he could put up some points against the Cowboys. Cowboys aren't that impressive on defense, so I'm going higher. Same thing for Dak Prescott, 15.5.
Higher.
Higher.
Lower. I think they're going to run the ball a lot without Des Bryant. They don't have a red zone threat. On the in the air, Ezekiel Elliott's going to be their red zone threat, but that doesn't help him.
Yeah, I'm going to say lower myself. All right, Spencer Ware, 17.5, higher or lower? Against Pittsburgh.
I'm saying lower.
Lower.
Yeah, that's too many points. Lower. And Gary, I don't think Charles is going to play. Everything I've been reading says he's going to be held out another week.
Le'Veon Bell, 16.5, higher or lower?
His first game back, I'm going to say higher.
Higher. Yeah, he's going to see 20 carries this week.
Sterling Shepard.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I was going to say I just saw what D'Angelo Williams averaged, and Bell's way better than he is. So I think 16's a low ball.
Okay. Hey, people thought 16 was a low ball for Todd Gurley, and look how that's turning out. Sterling Shepard, 13.5, higher or lower?
Lower.
I put him down
Lower.
a bit, so of course I'm going to go lower.
Yeah, lower.
Stephon Diggs, 14.5, higher or lower?
I
Lower.
think he bounces back. I'm going to say higher.
I'm going to say higher as well.
Yeah, I think that's Bradford's guy, so I think that's who he's going to be checking down to. Him and Rudolph. Those are the guys that Bradford's going to be using as his lifeline. Okay, so here we go with the versus. I'm going to run through each game. I put up two players. Try to get them at the same position. Sometimes it works, doesn't work out, but it is what it is. All right, first up, Tannehill, Dalton. Who has the better game?
Dalton.
Between who?
Tannehill.
Dalton and Tannehill?
Dalton and Tannehill.
I would say Tannehill has the better game.
Nick.
Tannehill.
Tannehill. And I'm going to say Dalton. Okay, next up, T.Y. Hilton, Allen Robinson.
Hilton. I don't trust anything about that Jacksonville offense.
Hilton.
I'm going to go Robinson.
Robinson?
Nick said Hilton.
Nick's got Hilton?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm going to go Hilton in the offense either. Okay, Kelvin Benjamin or Julio Jones?
Oh, man. I think the Carolina defense has the edge. I'm going to take Benjamin.
I'm going to go Julio.
Yeah, after what Cam Newton said, I'm gonna say Benjamin.
I'm going to go Julio. He had 170 yards against Carolina last year at home. With him being at home, I think he's going to play a lot better.
Yeah, but Norman's out of there now, so that secondary is way better.
Right. Absolutely.
I think I'm going to go with Kelvin Benjamin. Okay, Carr or Flacco?
Carr.
Yeah, I have Carr one spot ahead of Flacco. I think they're both going to be good, but I'll go with Carr.
I'm going to go with Flacco at home. All right. Wait a minute. You know what? I can't even read my own fucking handwriting. Oh, excuse me. My own effing handwriting.
Is that like Bob Laney or Bob Awesome-y?
Oh, there we go.
Bob Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Usama or whatever. All right. I had the letters. Okay. Alshon Jeffrey, Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones.
Yeah. I have him close, but you got to go with Marvin Jones with how he's playing.
Yeah, the way he's playing it, right. Okay. DeMarco Murray, Lamar Miller.
Miller.
Oh.
I'm going to go DeMarco Murray.
I'm gonna say Miller.
Miller?
Yep.
I'm going Murray. I think the run defense suffers a little bit without Watt in there. Okay. Shady or LeGarrette Blount?
Blunt.
Shady.
This is close, but I would go Blount too.
I'm going to go Shady because the way he ran against Arizona, he looked good. So, all right. Brandon Marshall or Doug Baldwin?
Doug Baldwin.
Clean sweep on that one. Jameis Winston or Trevor Siemian?
Jameis.
You would say that.
Yeah, I think I'm going with that too.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Simeon just because he doesn't have to play against the Denver defense.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Simeon too, only because he's starting for me this week. All right. David Johnson or Todd Gurley?
Gurley.
David Johnson.
Gurley ran against the Tampa Bay defense. That's it. We saw what he did against the other two defenses.
Change mine to Johnson too.
Oh. Yeah. Gurley's got the talent to shred anybody. I mean, I wouldn't want to play him this week, but he can. But I mean, he could go off for 200 yards, but I don't think he'll.
Yeah, kind of like the first. That's what Derek said in the first game. Remember?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, he's an undeniable talent. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he was the highest scoring player this week, but I don't think he's going to be.
Here's one that's kind of strange because I don't know where one of these guys is going to play at any point in time. So, Kirk Cousins and Terrell Pryor.
Terrell Pryor.
Cousins.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going with Cousins too.
I have Pryor as a wide receiver 3 this week. I would absolutely roll with him in fantasy, but a wide receiver versus a quarterback in scoring, that's I favor the quarterback all
Well,
day.
and the reason I put that in there is because he will play quarterback from time to time too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But Cousins going to play it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Besides, Cousins is going to have better shots at throwing in the end zone than Pryor will. So
Well, I mean, just look at it this way. Last year, Antonio Brown was the top scoring skill position player, and there were 17 quarterbacks that scored more than he did. Teddy Bridgewater scored more than Doug Martin did last year. So the scoring system favors the quarterbacks putting up the points.
Okay. Breeze versus Rivers.
Breeze.
Breeze.
Yeah, Breeze. They're both top 5 plays, but Breeze.
I'm going to go Rivers at home because, again, that New Orleans defense.
But that San Diego defense.
Wild card to me. Yeah, but it's outdoors. It's on grass, and Drew Brees doesn't always bring his best because he's under those conditions.
Yeah, but that's like a home field for him.
So
He played
Back in the
there
day.
for a number of years. Huh?
like you say about kickers, who cares? All right, Carlos Hyde or Ezekiel Elliott?
Elliott.
What? What?
Elliott.
What?
Elliott.
What?
Elliott.
Now you guys got me talking to myself, Elliott. All right, Scott, Derek, Nick, and myself all go with Zeke. I think I don't even think this one's fair. Spencer Ware, Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
Okay. And for for the Monday night game, Eli and Bradford.
Bradford.
I'm going to go Eli.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I think Eli has a slightly better game.
I mean, either one of them's going to have a good game, but
I don't think
He plays crazy, stupid good in games that he shouldn't. And this is one of those games.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stick with Bradford. That was my first choice.
All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what, Nick, between now and Sunday, since we're running a little late, between now and Sunday, come up with your perfect lineup.
All right.
And we'll hold off perfect lineups until Sunday. We just won't use anybody from tonight's game in the perfect.
Well, not that we would use anybody for tonight's game anyway, but that's okay. I mean, AJ Green maybe, but I doubt it.
Yeah. I try to avoid, after week 1, I tried to avoid players on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's unanimous that nobody's picking a perfect player from this game, right?
yes.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. So we can leave this for Sunday.
Yeah, in
Right?
case
You know what?
in case you haven't
Anybody-
seen it, the Dolphins uniforms
Is
look
anybody
like
picking is anybody making a perfect pick from the Indianapolis Jacksonville?
No,
No.
not even Andrew Luck.
Okay. And speaking of that, we do have to pick Sunday morning's game now because it'll be in progress when we meet next.
I like Indy.
That should be kind of fun, huh?
I like Indy.
Me too.
You know damn well I ain't taking Jacksonville.
I like Indianapolis, too. I think Gus Bradley gets shown the door after this game.
Yeah, I'm going with Indianapolis too, and I'm going to go with a score of 26-22. All right, so that gets us up to this week's games. I don't think there's anything else from this week's games that I need to ask. Again, Nick, just if you want to submit the perfect lineup, you just whatever you want to do, man.
All right.
Perfect.
I'll
And
start
then all
thinking
picks
about
for the games. That worked good where I could just read those off last week.
Yeah, and
All right.
for the games as well. Yeah, and then on Sunday we'll discuss the fantasy implications from each game, since we're not doing that tonight. And that does it for me, Jeff. You want to take us home?
Do we pick the Cincinnati Miami winner? Or?
Yeah, we all picked Cincinnati.
We all picked Cincinnati. Okay.
Yeah, we picked earlier.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Cool.
2016.
Yep, that's right.
Hey,
Yeah,
Gary,
so-
you're an idiot. Okay? Gary, you're an idiot.
Gary, my friend, I tried to prevent this from happening, but yes, I must agree. You're an idiot.
To make a trade
I
like
told him
that
about
with
the-
Scott,
I told him about the trade, Gary.
listen, I haven't called you an idiot all freaking since you've been here, but Scott made me do it. You're an idiot.
I told him about the trade, Gary.
No, Scott didn't make me do it. That trade made me do it.
Yeah, that trade made me say it. Exactly right. Well,
That-
Scott offered the trade to him, so it's Scott's fault.
No. Gary offered me the trade.
Oh,
He
Gary
offered me
offered
the
you?
trade.
Hey, Scott,
Yes.
hey, Scott, offer him Josh Gordon.
Hey, Gary, why don't you just pick up Sammy Watkins too while you're at it?
Yeah, there you go. I know a guy that's trying to push Sammy Watkins up.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta
Really hard.
Demaryius Thomas isn't exactly a filler, but that's okay. I'll take it.
It'll work, right?
Real quick,
Yep.
guys, before we sign off, let me just double check the injury report to see if there's anything looming for tonight.
It said something earlier that somebody's not playing.
I don't see anything in here for tonight, so we could cover or Sundays for that. Oh, wait a minute. Julius Thomas is a game time decision for Jacksonville on Sunday.
Yeah, so I may have to. It may force my hand. I may have to put Gronk in there after all.
Okay.
That makes him even more losery if he doesn't play.
Losery?
Mike,
Losery, yes.
I told you earlier, Michael Floyd cleared concussion protocol. So, again, you said this, Derek, about John Brown. Just coming off concussion protocol is not the greatest time to start somebody.
It's not.
So, okay, who else? Deshaun Jackson was limited in practice. So even more, Jamison Crowder could be a factor for the Redskins. So,
Absolutely.
Russell Wilson looks like he's ready to play. I don't know how effective he'll be against that Jets defense, but he is ready to go.
Revis will give up at least one big play.
What's that?
Revis will give up at least one big play.
Revis Lilypad is open for business. And let's see. I think that's it. Well, we all know Jay Cutler's not playing. And Eric Decker might be an issue as well. He's supposed to be undergoing an MRI on his shoulder.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there. We'll of course, update the injury report on Sunday as well. So it's about 20 minutes to game time. So now for real, I'm turning it over to Jeff so we can get the hell out of here and get ready for tonight's game.
So let's get the flock out of here. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. We had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did, too. Nicholas, thank you so much, buddy.
Fine.
Yeah, good to see you guys again.
Yeah, it was
Fine.
nice to have you back. Are you going to be doing this
Thanks.
on Thursdays with us now, you freaking hump?
I'm not going to be able to do it every Thursday, but I will do it as much as I can.
Well, just
Quit
let
that
me know
job.
when
You don't need
can.
that job. Get the hell out of there.
Hey, when you know that you're not going to be on, let me know so I don't put you on the banner. Dude.
Right.
All right.
That's all. So thank you guys to the FFMX boys. Thank you very much for being here with us tonight. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow with free-for-all open mic on Friday. How about that?
Friday.
Friday. Until then, my friends, remember, you only have one life to live. Live it long, live it strong, and live it proud. Please don't forget, life may suck, but the alternative is unacceptable. For Derek Laughlin, Nicholas Lord, Scott Sports Nerd, Elliot Biggie Lamba, I'm Jeff Escow. This has been Sports World Radio.
Thanks for listening to Sports World Radio with your hosts, Jeff Escow and Elliot Big E Lomba. Online at sportsworldradio.com. Sports World Radio, the equal opportunity ripper. We'll catch you next time.